Hello, my name is Lindsay Handy, and this is my AEP 855 Module 4 KESA assignment. So just to kind of start off, I actually live and teach in Denver, Colorado for Denver Public Schools. And so when reading about that, we're reading this rubric with my principal, it was definitely something new to us. We don't necessarily have a statewide rubric kind of like this. We do have one as a district, but it's more of like a LEAP is what it's called, tool that we use that hits on relevance, different things like that. So when I was working with my principal to decide what our building was, if it was a model institution or just beginning, it was kind of hard for us to decide whether we were modeling all the way or transitioning all the way, because a couple of the different R's we felt like we were definitely transitioning in, such as rigor. And then we felt like certain things like relationships, we were definitely like modeling in. And I would say more specifically relationships in our building, but maybe not so much relationships outside. And so we kind of had a lot of discussion, and we just agreed to not necessarily have a label as far as what we are specifically. So I hope that isn't okay for an answer. And I will kind of let you know a little brief analysis of our assessments. So as far as the first R, rigor, is the first one we talked about. And we decided that we were definitely in the transitioning phase. And that's because that's a huge learning area for our building specifically this year. We actually have a school-wide professional development currently on rigor. We are just finished a book study that is on the book, Rigor is Not a Four-Letter Word. And we've decided to really hone in on our questioning as teachers, making sure that our questions are rigorous, that we're not prompting the answers from the kids and giving them too much, because I think that was something that they saw school-wide that we were really struggling with as a building. So we have certain expectations, like our content learning objective needs to be posted, our questions need to be posted, therefore we know that they're pre-planned. We are also released for a full day of planning every 6 weeks, so every unit more or less, where we work with our team, our grade level team, as well as a leader, whether it be our instructional coach or the principal or somebody else in our team. And they actually go through every unit with us and kind of decide what are our questions going to be, and then we kind of like level them as far as rigor goes and see, are we actually asking rigorous questions? So I feel like that was one that her and I both agreed on, that we were definitely transitioning in. And then another one that I thought that that we were actually pretty modeling would be relationships. We have a new teacher ambassador that deals with our new support for our new educators. We are all observed on LEAP, and we're given feedback after every single observation, whether they're scored or not, which we think is huge. We plan for our safe environment by using NNN, no nonsense nurturing. So our relationships with our kids are huge. We have a student first rule in our district and specifically our building, where we say we're a safe place set apart. So we make sure that we're building relationships with students every single day. So I feel like relationships in our building, we are modeling. We're doing great with. The kids feel loved. They are able to learn, and they're doing really well. I work at a title school with some kiddos that have dealt with some pretty serious trauma, and I feel like building relationships is number one before anything. And we also have like student ambassadors. We do a lot with relationships in the building. So in that aspect, I feel like we're modeling. But then as far as relationships outside the building, like with our communities and parents and whatnot, that's definitely an area of growth for us, and we're doing a lot to work on that. So we just started a PTA. We just hired a family liaison, so we're doing a lot to try to bridge that gap for sure. And that kind of goes into our responsive culture. Parents don't, after what are they called? Surveys, we've kind of felt that parents don't feel heard. They have issues with the nutrition in the building. They definitely don't feel like, as a building, we are very responsive to them and the issues that they bring out to us as teachers and as a staff. So That's definitely an area of growth for us, and my principal actually agreed. And then as far as relevance goes, we also feel like that's a little bit of an area of growth, specifically relevance as far as like curriculum goes. We didn't have before I came, when I was actually teaching in Kansas, there wasn't a curriculum. So we've tried to fix that by bringing on a new curriculum. So we actually use Wonders now. But there's a lot of issues when it comes to, is this actually relevant? Our math curriculum is still not relevant. We have technology, but not necessarily using it in a relevant way at all. So I feel like there's a lot of things as far as relevance goes that we can grow on. As far as my principal's leadership approach, we both discussed it, and actually I agreed with the theory, with the leadership style that she chose, which was situational. She definitely doesn't follow like one style. Whatever she chooses is, or whatever style she decides to use is kind of based on the situation at hand. She's extremely flexible, but she definitely takes into consideration what her staff has to say, what parents have to say when they come. We have an issue in the building of we have half of our classes are ELA S, so fully self-contained, only Spanish-speaking kiddos, and they actually getting all their instruction in Spanish. And then ELA E, so all of our kiddos that are receiving instruction in English. And I feel like there might be a disconnect there when it comes to like parents feeling like they can come to the principal with issues. But I think that with her leadership style, she's really trying to get those parents that don't feel heard to come and be able to share with her so that she can make decisions based on the situation at hand. As far as areas of improvement, I kind of touched on that a little bit. And I think that the biggest one for me that I would like to, if I could do something about it, it would be relevance. And what I would do was, number one, I think teachers need more time to use their discretion to decide what specifically they're going to do to teach a certain standard and so on. Because I feel like with a new curriculum, there's so much like they really want you to be compliant and follow everything. And I think that with that, we're getting away from our relevant standards. Also, I think that I would have teachers who are actually in the woods with these kids have more of a say in what curriculums are used, because our math curriculum currently, the whole building hates it because it isn't relevant. It jumps from one standard to another and doesn't really connect. And so I think that by letting teachers have more say in that, that'd be huge. Also, I think that our professional development as far as technology goes needs to be extremely more relevant, how we can actually use this technology in our classroom in order to enhance learning rather than just replace a book or replace something else. So I think that relevance is the number one thing that we need to hit in our building in order to really push these kids to the best of their ability. Thank you.